Hello, everyone. Happy Thursday. How's everyone doing today? Good morning, Mark. Good morning, Patrick. Good morning, Royal Palms. Can we look at AR? Just remind me. Good morning, Sterling. All right, you're out of the 10-year short. I agree. I agree. The best ARs. I love the Daniel Defense ARs. They are the best out there. From my perspective, they are really nice. Uh, Earnings, there's you go. Crocs crushing it. Plastic shoes up 14.32. Birkenstocks, oh no, they missed on revenue and now they're down. The guidance is not great. So, what have we learned? Buy Crocs, don't buy Birkenstocks. I love my Birkenstocks. Good morning, Yogi. Good morning, Anissa. Good morning, David Atkins. Love my Birkenstocks and my Daniel Defense. Good morning, Bud. Good morning, Budweiser. That's probably not good. Good morning. If geez, oh, I cannot. I can't drink before the evening. I just can't. Good morning, Ted. Good morning, Tony. Let me try to get the clicky finger working. Good morning, Jake. Good morning, Daniel. Uh, Hyatt Hotels miss on revenues. Have you noticed there's a lot more misses on revenue this earnings season? Good morning, Legion Reaver. Used to live a few minutes from Daniel Defense. My brother has one of their ARs also. They are really nice. Hello, Charles. Our Birkenstock does have a confirmed daily double bottom. Thank you for putting that in there, Sterling. All right, welcome. Hope everyone is having a fantastic week. We also jobless claims coming out this morning. 227. Forecast was 225, just down slightly from previous, and continuing slightly up from previous, and slightly above consensus. Nothing shocking there. We have existing home sales, and we got Mirren speaking after the close. So it's nothing on the financial report. It'll all just be what comes out intraday. So far, we had Cisco report yesterday afternoon. They're down 6.6%. App loving also reported that people aren't loving the app loving, down nearly 8.5%. So, but we have the mega cap. Apple, everyone's up in the mega caps except for Apple. Uh, the AI trade still trying to keep some momentum. So there we go. In terms of your groups, terms of the groups, uh, energy pulling back a bit. Healthcare, basic materials nearly just slightly negative. What's real estate doing today? What is real estate leading for? Huh. That's sort of interesting. Technology, industrials. There you go. Cisco beat stock down. Thank you for putting that in there. Still 94% for the pause in March. Fear and greed in neutral mode, just like this market sort of stuck in neutral now. 40.35 for Schiller PE. We went through the stuff this morning. After the close, we got Coinbase. We got Pinterest. We got Rivian. DraftKings, Applied Materials. Lots of Dutch Bros around me. Lots of Dutch Bros coffee around me. So that's what we have. And then tomorrow morning, Moderna, Wendy's, Advanced Auto Parts. Always interesting to see how Advanced Auto Parts print. There's your app loving. There's your app loving. Beat stock down. Good morning, right on time. Lucinda Williams version. All right. Holy. You're right on time. What is it? I still got to keep a very slight upwards bias. And people ask, well, why do I do it? Because, again, I don't want, with this kind of stuff, look, yeah, we're slight because we have resistance up here around that just above 7,000. But I'm not trying to grab these quick little sell offs like yesterday. We have little boop, boop. Look at that. I'm not trying to grab anything. Look at that recovery. I'm getting more and more to neutral mode, but I got to keep a slight upwards bias. So on a pullback, I'm looking at about 69, 62 area. If we drop below that, it's yesterday's low, which is also very key from Monday. from Monday morning. So that's the key next area. Let's see. Let's see, about 69, 33, 35. Hey, Andrea, how are you doing? I know it's been a while, but what a day for me to try and real estate. Uh, it'll be earnings and Redfin looking to integrate more with GPT. Thank you for tuning in, Andrea. And she is our local real estate expert. So thank you. All right. On a rally, I'm still looking 7,000, 7,010 is very key resistance in there. It's got to blow through there, but then 721. Unless we get major momentum to the upside, it's just moving up stops and taking stuff off at prior resistance levels and watching for potential reversal trades, not necessarily to sell, because again, I have a slight upwards bias, but to take some profits off if the reversal trade is triggered. Remember, don't try to grab both sides of the market all the time. You know, it's generally, unless the market's in extreme choppiness or caught in a range, like some crude, a lot of times will get caught in a range. That's fine, you know, longs and shorts. But this still has an upward bias. Well, at least in the S&P, the Nasdaq, the Nasdaq still's got to get above 2558. We've still stalled out right by that 50 EMA in the top of the rotation zone. Now we start getting through there about this 25,465 area. 2558 close above there. Then I'll be looking to shift slightly more aggressively to the upside. But geez, this Nasdaq still roughly trading levels we were seeing in October. Uh, key support coming in around 25,200. We break below that. I'm looking at yesterday's low. Uh, so that's what I'm looking at. If we had something major happen, boy, I'll be looking at 24.9, and then I'm looking at the retracements. So when I mean retracements, I'm going to the low on Thursday the 5th up to, unless we make a new high this morning, and then I'm going to look at the 50 and the 62.5. That's exactly, if we did have a bigger breakdown, that's what I'd be doing across the board for all these markets. The Dow, just so far, a sideways correction after breaking the new highs, a sideways correction with the rotation zone catching up. So first level support's just around 50K, and then if it broke down from there, 49,800, just about 49,800. 50,700 is the next minor harmonic. Russell, having some pretty significant resistance at 2,700. Popped above it a couple times, but we're getting selling pressure. But if we break above that, remember the magnet price is still 26.4. And that's a pretty key area in that. So if it breaks above there, then it's looking for the highs at around 27.49, 27.50. Above that's 27.72. But Russell, remember, really nice back in the rotation zone, triggered that inverse head and shoulders, hit first and second, and now rotating back up. So still really nicely holding the rotation zone. VIX dropping back to the key trend line. Going to be interesting to see if it can break that trend line or not. But we're looking like it's the volatility is having a harder time breaking down. It's like getting bought more. So even though the markets are somewhat grinding higher, it's still volatility is remaining higher than it's been in the past. The 10-year hit the first target, and now I'm going to be watching how we react again around that first target. Could this be? I mean, these when you see these are lower probability, but I'll be keeping an eye then on yesterday's spike high price. Yeah, 4 point, what is the exact high? 4.217 for potential breakout. Other than that, it's still in potential pullback mode. When they're that lopsided, they're lower probability. Just keep that in mind. And I'm not just referring to the yields. I'm talking about any market. When you have one bar that makes up the low and high side of the double. Crude, not much to talk about here. Still remaining in minorly bullish mode. Looking forward to pullbacks. We finally ticked off the 87.5 magnet price. which was 65.81. We got to 65.83 before pulling back. I'm just paying attention to this daily rotation zone. If we drop below this already established low price, about 63.96, I'll start watching for a pullback closer to the 63 level, slightly above 63. Other than that, trend is still choppy to up. The only thing that changes that is if we break down below Tuesday the 3rd's low. Gold, again, these markets, so many are behaving, they're trading in sync, like slightly choppy to up. So that's where we sit. Still, gold's got to get above 51.75.5 on a closing basis. Still trying to sustain something around this 5100 level. Just slowly edging up, but not out of the rollover zone yet. I would not be shorting though. Dark screen. In case you tune in, don't be shorting. Unless this thing breaks down, but this is not the time. Silver, still finding very significant resistance around this 85 area. 85 to 86, very significant levels. If it does break above 86, we could see a quick trip to 92, 85. But nothing yet. Dollar index, wide range bar yesterday. So the lows were near to 62.5. Remember, that's the only thing that will tip me, again, short-term bearish. Other than that, I'm watching for bottoming patterns, which we don't have in front of that 62.5. So that's where we sit right there. Again, there's not a lot of fantastic setups. Bitcoin, not much unless we start getting above 70,500 and can sustain above there. That's from the bullish side. The bearish side, I'd just be looking for key support back down around 62.7 if it breaks down again. But we'd need the markets to break down for that to probably happen. These spiders, again, a gap up today. So key support would be on the gap fill, roughly 692, 691.96. And then I'd be looking at yesterday's low. Again, yesterday's bar was pretty significant in the futures and the cash. So that's what I'm paying attention on. A rally, I'm looking at yesterday's open, 690, 639, and then the high, 697.14. We've had major resistance up there on yesterday's high. You can see tested a bunch of times, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and hasn't broken through. But if it does, if we can over the next couple days get a breakthrough for that, we could see a really quick move higher. Other than that, can't really focus on any shorts unless we start taking out yesterday's low, and that would only be back to the 50 EMA. Again, we're in choppy mode with a slight upwards bias. The Qs still have to get above 620.91. Slight gap up today, so on any weakness for the gap fill 613.11, and then yesterday's lows key 607.50 and 60 yesterday's low is 607.69, but 607.50 to 70 is very key support. IWM, again, slight gap up on a gap fill that would be to 264.95, and then yesterday's low is very key. We break below that. Remember, there's still some gaps left behind back from last Thursday. But I'd be looking at if we really take out in the Russell with yesterday's low, I'm looking for, first off, the opening bar from last Friday, 259.75, and then the opening reversal down from last Thursday, 258.50, if we got selling pressure in there. Other than that, you wanted AR. And I remembered that because of Daniel Defense. So, AR hasn't been able to shift the probabilities yet. Sort of caught in the range. I mean, key is this 200 on the weekly. I'd still roughly say looking in bullish mode unless you close below that weekly 200 on any pullbacks. On the rallies, I'd be looking right around 36.50 at least to raise a stop, if not take something off. And then closer to this 38, it's got to get above 38.42 to shift the probabilities, but I'd be looking at the next area for possible profit taking, or at least aggressively raise a stop around 38. And uh it's gone a whole lot of nowhere with a slight upwards bias. I'd still stay bullish unless you start closing back below the 200 on the weekly. On the weekly. Let's take a look at DKNG, DraftKings. DraftKings, what do you have? It is trading right at 62.5 retracement from the low in May 2022, which was an area of major support. I don't see any short-term setups though. Might get one today if it sets up a double bottom, a little mini double bottom. Overall, let's just see. It is right at that 62.5 with no weekly close below it yet. Slight daily close, but I've been looking to see going in the open if this sells off a bit today to see if he sets up a double bottom. That's about the only thing. By the way, if this says misses earnings and closes below the 62.5 on the weekly, I'd be very patient on any bullish setups. Other than that, just gotta get below 25.67 to set up that potential double bottom. So that's what we have there for DraftKings. Again, below the weekly 200. But if this breaks down, my next target would be 2070. If it does break down. Have we looked at XLI lately? There's your answer. XLI. Wonder where the next harmonics take us to the upside. On the long term. We'd be looking at about 182 to the upside on the long-term harmonics. So there you go. Would not fight this trend. If you pull back, I'd just be watching this weekly rotation zone at this point if it gets a bigger pullback. Better swing trading in sectors and individual stocks right now. There's some decent trading in individual stocks right now. Overall versus the broad market. So yeah, I agree with you, holy. All right. That's all we have. There's no point in making this longer than it needs to be. Again, this is a very choppy market with a slight upward bias trying to follow through. Already ticked off that 87.5 though. So it's got to blow through and make new highs or I'll be starting more aggressively watch for a rollover setup, but there's no topping trade just yet. We are getting the cycle tops, just remember that, going into the end of the week, but there's no great short setup. That's also why the VIX hasn't pulled back as much, but it's why when there's no great setups and we're in this kind of market, I like to look for the hedges. With that, I shall talk to everyone tomorrow for Friday. Everyone have a wonderful trading day. Thank you for tuning in. Bye for now.